Hello guys, welcome to the next video tutorial on C programming for beginners, and in this video we will discuss about scope rules in C. Now there are two kinds of variable declaration in C. One is called as local variable, which we have been seeing in our tutorial, and one is called global variable. So for example, local variable is a variable which you would declare inside some function. So inside, for example, in your main you can declare int a is equals to 10. It's called the local variable. So what it's called? It's known as local variable. Now, whenever you declare a variable which is not inside any function, it's called as global variable. So, for example, I declare a function which is not inside main, or I will declare one more function and, for example, void number print. It doesn't take any argument and print something, okay? And here we can declare a variable called x, or a variable called int, or a variable int a, and this is also a local variable, right? It's called as a local variable because it's declared inside your function, but whenever you declare a variable, for example int g, it's called a global variable which is not inside any function. And what is the difference between global and local variable? The difference is local variable is only valid inside your function, so it's a local variable to your function. So you cannot use this inside this number, or you cannot use this inside this main function or anywhere else. But on the other hand, a global variable is visible to every function in our program. So you can use this global variable here also and here also. Now let's see what I mean by this. For example, I want to print. I declare global variable as 0, or for example, I just declare a global variable, and just remember, I will just comment here. Global variable is always, remember, whenever you declare a global variable, it's initialized by 0. If it's int, float or double, it's already initialized by 0, so you don't need to initialize it. But local variables, whenever you declare it like this, it's not initialized by 0. So this variable may contain any value, any garbage value, and may know the value of this a. So let's see. First of all, you will print f. We will print the value of this global variable. Global is equal to %d and should be %d without the space, and then comma g. We are printing this value, right? In the same way, we will print this local variable. So we will write local and we will print a, or let's name them logically. So I will name them variable global underscore v, and I rename it as local underscore v. Local underscore v stands for local variable and global underscore v stands for global variable. So I use the global variable to print here, or it's not printed here, but this global variable value in our main function, because we are not going to call this function for now. So this should be local variable, and remember, we haven't initialized this and this by any value. So let's see what happens when we run this program. We can see that this variable local is equals to 77. Let me give one more thing here, which is /n to change the line, and I will run the program again, and you can see this local variable is printing 77, but we haven't initialized this local variable by any value, so it's taking the garbage value. But whenever you use the global variable, it's always initialized by 0. It is initialized by 0 even if you haven't assigned any value to it. So just remember this, and if it's a character, it will be initialized by a null character, and if it's a point, which we are going to learn in the next videos, it will be initialized by a null pointer. Now, global variable. For example, you declare this global variable is equal to 25. You initialize it, and you also initialize local variable like this global variable with the same name, but this is equal to 20, for example, and I will just comment this because we don't need this line. So what we have done is we have initialized a variable called global v and initialized it by 25, and by the same name I have given it to my local variable. Now what happens in this case is, whatever value is contained by local variable, even if it's declared by the same name globally, the value of this global v will be the value in the local variable. So whenever we print this value, we will print here, so local variable always has the preference over the global variable, even if they have the same name. And now let's see what happens after we run this program. So what it says is 20 instead of 25. Now for example, you want to use global variable inside this function. I will just print this here. So I will print something like the global variable plus 50 for example, and I will name it as global plus 50. So what this will do is it will print whatever the value of global variable is. For example, 25 plus, it will add to 50 to it, and I'm going to call this function over here. So it's visible to this function, so we can see global plus 50 is 75, it's printing over here. So global variable is visible to your functions and all your functions, and to your code also. So global variable is visible to your functions and all your codes also. And to your local variable, you cannot use it globally. For example, int num is a local variable, that is int num local is equal to 30, and if you want to use this local variable here, you want to print this local num here, it will give you a compilation error because this variable is not visible to this main function, because this exists in other function other than the main function. So when we run it, it says there is some error, and this error is num underscore local is undeclared, so you cannot use a local variable in your other functions. So these are some scope rules in C. I hope you have understood the basic concept of scope rules in C.